Ladies and gentlemen, we're on to Chicago. So the Philadelphia Union are coming off its worst loss in this historical season for the club. But it is time to put the RSL loss behind us because up next we have Chicago Fire. And the preview for this match is coming up next, my duperos. Dale! Welcome everyone to DOOP By The River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union with me, El Parcero Philly. And if this is your first time tuning in or if you're returning back, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. And please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell button for the notifications to help me grow soccer here in Philadelphia. Before we start off any preview here, wanted to jump into the breaking news in Philadelphia Union Nation. Dun, dun, dun. The Philadelphia have acquired Joe Bendick from the Columbus Crew in exchange for a 2020 second round draft pick. Now for Joe, this is just a depth acquisition for the Union. As we know, Carlos Coronel's loan deal was cut a little bit too short as he's returning back to Salzburg for the Red Bull. And this deal's a little insurance just in case something were to happen to Andre Blake or Matt Freese. So as we all know very well, Union Nation is experienced in the MLS, and if it comes down to it, we need Joe, it's gonna help eventually. And today's DOOP By The River Duperos, I have a very special surprise. As this is the second time in DOOP By The River history, I have a special guest on. This time, it is a special guest from the opposing team. I have Juan Pimiento from Second City Soccer here to preview the match here with me on DOOP By The River. And Juan, take it away.
Hey, Parcero, thank you so much for having me on. What's up, everybody? This is Juan Pimiento coming to you in living color from the great city of Chicago. Ready to talk some fire and some Philadelphia Union this weekend here on DOOP By The River, coming to you from the Chicago River. I used to be a beat writer for the Chicago Fire up until about a month ago, so I've been following the team, of course, very closely for the Chicago Tribune. Now I transition over to a new adventure called Second City Soccer, and I'm the editor-in-chief for anything Chicago soccer related. And let's get ready to talk some Union, some Fire.
Awesome. Now, Juan, the Union fans really want to know about the Chicago Fire. What can you tell us about the Fire?
Yeah, so the Philadelphia Union are hosting a Chicago Fire team that are in the worst form of the season by far in 2019. They're in the middle of rock bottom, I believe, which is kind of extended now for about a month and a half since being eliminated from the Open Cup, the U.S. Open Cup, by St. Louis FC. So this team is reeling. You're really going to see a team that is emotionally, in terms of form, performance, really at their very lowest. Right now, looking at a potential non-playoff season again for the fourth time in the last 5 years, with a lots of talent though, because they do have a lot of playmakers, a lot of dangerous guys, especially on the offensive side, with Nico Gaitán, of course, the Argentine, leading the way as the playmaker in the middle, with Przemysław Frankowski on one side, Alexander Katai on the other side. Katai was kept out of the starting 11 in the draw against Columbus midweek, so I think he'll be able to feature from the get-go. Of course, also up top, you got Nemanja Nikolic, who won the Golden Boot in 2017. And we'll see what happens in that position up top, because as of late, a guy very familiar to Union fans in CJ Sapong, you remember him. He's been kind of taking over the role as the striker for this team in Chicago, and he's now the leading scorer in his first year for the Fire, so it figures to also be starting in this game as well. Of course, the main name is Bastian Schweinsteiger. That's the one that everybody points to as a center back this season once again, and he's been really the glue that holds this team together. This team likes to play a 4-2-3-1, which can also look like a 4-1-4-1 on defense, or a 4-4-2 at times. You got Kenneth Kronholm, German goalkeeper, who came in right at the outset of this transfer window as the goalkeeper, and a much maligned goalkeeper here in Chicago. At the right back position, it looks like it's going to be Brent Branico, former midfielder who was converted to the right flank. You got Bastian Schweinsteiger, of course, as the center back, as the leader of in the back. And then the question is, who's going to be the other center back on the left and the left wing back, the left fullback? Will it be Francisco Calvo, the Costa Rican international? Will it be Johan Kappelhoff, the Dutch center back? Or will Calvo play on the left fullback position? Or will it be Jorge Corrales, perhaps the Cuban international for the Fire? Right ahead of him, of course, is Dex McCarty, the captain, the leader of this team. Definitely very familiar, of course, throughout the league. And right next to them, it could be Georgi Mihailovic, who was just part of the Gold Cup squad that finished second in the Gold Cup, losing to Mexico here at Soldier Field in Chicago. We could also see, if not Mihailovic, Fabian Herbers, another guy who Union fans are pretty familiar with, the German who's been featuring actually more in the middle. So for those who haven't been following the Fire and have been kind of used to seeing Herbers on the wing, Herbers is now being kind of converted to a number 8, to a box-to-box by Veljko Paunovic, the head coach of the Fire. So he might feature in this game in that position. If not, it could be Georgi Mihailovic with Nico Gaitan, with Frankowski, with Alex Katai. And up top, again, the big question is CJ Sopang or Nemanja Nikolic. But again, we heard from President and General Manager Nelson Rodriguez midweek, and definitely there's a lot of pressure on this team from the players to the coaching staff, because the playoffs are looking more and more less likely, and that's a big issue, because the Fire made the expenditures to bring players like Frankowski, like Nico Gaitan, like CJ Sopang, like Calvo, and all with the hopes of making the playoffs, and it looks like they're not going to be able to. So again, it might be a good bounce back for the Union, of course, after coming off of a disappointing result against a Fire team that lost now back-to-back games in the last week to FC Cincinnati and Columbus, the worst two teams in the Eastern Conference. It might be a nice pick-me-up opportunity for the Union.
Wow, thank you, Juan, for that great scouting report about the Fire there. Now, obviously, here at Philly, we know CJ Sopang and Fabian Herbers very well, so it'll be interesting to see what those guys do. Now, Juan, what is your prediction? What do you see happening in this match?
Man, I just think this Fire team is in such low form that honestly I don't see how they can take the 3 points at least from this game. Like I said before, I think the Union have a perfect game to kind of get back up on their feet after a disappointing result. So my prediction for this game, I'm gonna say Union 3, Chicago Fire 1, and it's just gonna be just piling on for the Chicago Fire in this game, and a bounce back for the Union.
Awesome. Juan, thank you so much for jumping in on DOOP by the River today. It was a true pleasure of having not only someone from the opposing side, but someone as knowledgeable as you hop on DOOP by the River. Guys, if you want to follow Juan, check him out on Twitter and Instagram. He is Juan Pimiento on both, for some of the great soccer takes in Chicago. Now that we know a little bit about the Chicago Fire, guys, let's dive into our team. Talk about the formations in the starting 11. I believe we will see. And first up with the formation, still think we're going to stick with the 4-4-2 diamond. I want to see the Union use this high press on this inconsistent Chicago Fire team, and I believe we can use our best players in the best situations with this formation. And in goal, who else but Andre Blake? Last week was a week to forget, not only for him, but for the rest of the team. And I believe we will definitely bounce back here against Chicago. It truly and honestly wouldn't surprise me if we saw Andre get a clean sheet, unless our boy CJ Sopang has got other plans in mind. And in the back line, starting from left to right, I believe we'll see Kai Wagner, Mark McKenzie, Jack Elliott, and RJL. Now, obviously, this is my opinion on what I think we should see out there on the pitch. Jim obviously might have different plans in mind, but I truly believe that after what we have seen over the last couple weeks from this back line, we need to change things up between these four. Mark McKenzie is someone that he has unfortunately hurt for most of this season, but seems to be fully fit. And this is a guy who was playing really well in last season. And due to the fact that Austin Trusty and Jack Elliott have been playing well for most of the season, he hasn't really been able to see the pitch. but I think it is time to see what you got in Mark McKenzie right now and give Austin Trusty a little time on the bench. And RJ Allen, this is a guy who is a MLS vet. We saw Regatta get hella exposed last week. Let's give a shot to a guy who knows what to do out at the right flank. Kai Wagner missed last match with a little injury, but I believe he will be ready to play for the Chicago match. Starting in the midfield, left to right. At the left shuttle midfielder, we got Brandon Aronson. At the 6th role, Harris Meduninen. At the right shuttle midfielder, Alejandro Bedoya. And at the tip of the diamond, bit of a surprise, but I'm gonna stick with Marco Fabian up there. Now, we thought that Jamiro Montero would be able to start this match after he missed the last 2 matches, but it seems that he is not fully fit with that left ankle sprain, which leaves Brandon Aronson to be back in the starting lineup to start the left shuttle midfield position. And of course, we will see if Brandon Aronson can, shake off the little skid that he's had over the last month or so. He has not been playing well. He's been hitting that rookie wall. Personally, I think this is the best opportunity for him to snap out of it. Now, Marco obviously hasn't exploded onto the scene like we thought he would beginning of the season, but the man has been battling injuries and adjusting to this MLS game. And honestly, what Marco might need is just some more minutes, more time out on the pitch to get acclimated with the game. For one, I am not ready to give up on Marco Fabian, and I think that this is a great opportunity to continue putting trust in him, and eventually it's going to pay off. Another bit of important news for the midfield, El Cine is cleared to play this weekend as well, and I expect him to come out in the second half if we really do need him to save us. And up top for the 2 forwards, I believe we'll see Andrew Wooten, yes, and Kasper Shabilko. Andrew Wooten came on last week with a little less than 15 minutes to play in the match, and right off the bat showed a little bit of an impact with a goal that was called back. And I truly believe this is the perfect spot for him to start. Let him play 60 minutes. And in the second half, I would love to see Fafa Pico get out there. The combination of Elsinho and Fafa is one of my favorites. And for the Chicago Fire, unfortunately, they're going to see what they are missing out from Andrew Wooten. Now with the Chicago Fire, we're talking about a team that has a lot of talent, especially attacking talent. Unfortunately, there is been... Now when we talk about the Chicago Fire, this is a good team despite what we've seen over the last couple of results. There is talent on the attack, but there has been too much inconsistent play with this team, and a lot has to do disconnect between the team and the management. And I mentioned at the end of the review video for the RSL match for the Union, this team needs to come out in this match not just ready to play, not just focused. This team needs to come out with an edge. This team needs to come out angry, because last week that shit cannot happen again. And if we come out lackadaisical, the Chicago Fire attack will take advantage of us. You also have to believe a guy like CJ Sapong, a guy like Fabian Herbers, who got dealt away from this Philadelphia Union team. They felt disrespected. They felt unwanted. You don't think these guys are going to come in with a chip on their shoulders? Come on now. In the end, I think we will continue to see the same trend we have seen from this Philadelphia Union squad all season long. And we will see a team that is going to fight back. I expect the Union to bounce back from last week's embarrassment and grab the 3 points at home. I see the Union winning 2-0 against Chicago. Alright guys, those are my thoughts for the Philadelphia Union going up against the Chicago Fire. Tomorrow is a big day for myself. Obviously, as you guys can tell, I'm not wearing Union gear today because the match against Chicago is going to be held on the day of Independence Day for Colombia. Yes, that is right. Saturday is the Independence Day for the beautiful country of Colombia. I will be around in the city bopping around. Not many Colombians in this area of Philadelphia, which is okay. I will bring the party to my Philadelphians. If you see a crazy Colombian walking around the streets of Center City, Philadelphia, don't be alarmed. That would be me. I do plan on heading to the Philly Soccer Show's live podcast at Tattooed Mom on South Street to show support to some of our guys who cover the Philadelphia Union here in the city. And I plan on just bopping around, Mixto, Lucha Cartel. If you're in the area, definitely stop by. Let's hang out. A couple shots of Guado on me. I will be heading down to Chester as well for the Union match against the Fire. I'll be hanging out with the guys from the Views from the Bridge. They got some things planned ahead for the tailgate, so don't want to miss that. In the comments below, guys, let me know how you guys feel about the Union going ahead in this match against the Chicago Fire. And again, I want to give a big thanks to Juan Pimiento for hopping on to DOOP By The River and giving us his take from the Chicago Fire side. And please, guys, Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button for notifications to help me grow soccer here in Philadelphia. And until next time, my Luperos, DOOP.